So yesterday, because it was so incredibly hot again, I only left camp after sunset, and at the hyena den there was nothing going on. It was too hot for them. There was no shade, and I was pretty sure they would be going to the waterhole a couple of k's away. So I went, and when I got there, there was a pride of lions. There were 2 young males and 3 females and 4 cubs. And they were just lying around there, so they must have arrived earlier and had a drink and were lying around. And then not too long afterwards, they headed east. And I followed, and it looked like they were hunting. And they sort of had a rough sort of stalk at some impala, and then they gave up. And then and they carried on heading east, and the one youngster seemed to be hanging back a bit, but there was always an adult behind it following up. Anyway, they eventually went into this dense thicket of gruyere, and I couldn't follow them in, but I went around, and one of the lionesses came out, and she was lying there, and she went and lay down, and they rested there for a couple of hours. And it was, there were just stars, and here I was lying under the stars on my mattress, on my camera box, with lions over there. It's they just add a different aura to them, lions. And my vehicle, old Joni, she's just open, and I'm supposedly vulnerable, but lions have never been a problem. But it was just, magical, lying under the stars, lions over there, and the night was quiet. And they must have lain there for a couple of hours. And then eventually they started heading east again. And when they left the thicket, I was following them, and then I counted, but hang on, there's only 3 cubs. And I checked again, only 3 cubs. While they were in the thicket, just before they left, there was a lioness calling, several times. She's a little low grunt. She probably called 10 times maybe. And then, they moved off, and there were only 3 cubs, and that was it. All the lions left, and somewhere in that thicket was this young cub, and he'd just been abandoned. And I couldn't go in there and have a look in that thick stuff, especially at night. I couldn't get in there with Joni. And I just couldn't believe it, how sad that this cub had got left behind. And maybe, the heat has just been too much, and he succumbed, I don't know. And the rest of the adults realized, well, there's nothing they can do, so they might as well move on. It's just a very, very sad observation to realize there were only 3 cubs again when they left. And I followed them for a while, and they went into another dense thicket of gruyere, and old Joni did her best. She bashed through there, and I lost them. I couldn't find them anymore. I heard them at dawn calling further east. But I still can't believe how they just left that one cub behind. It's so sad.